Have you ever thought of the biggest weapon of the world? Is it a missile or a bomb that destroys everything in its path? Or is it a virus that spreads and kills millions of people around the world? Instead, it looks something like a paper. This is the US dollar, and the whole world is a slave of it. It's not just a currency for the world, but it's a tool and a weapon for the US to control other nations. But as a layman, we do have some questions in our mind. That why we compare other currencies with US dollar, who decides the value of the dollar, who controls the dollar, and how it affects the world. Welcome back to ReelTrix, and in this video let's understand how dollar is controlling the world. Dollar is the backup currency for the whole world. If we compare US dollar with other currencies, we'll find that other currencies do not have any significant value outside their respective regions. However, when it comes to US dollar, it is widely accepted for trade and everyone loves it. It is because dollar is the world currency and accepted by almost all the countries for trade and international transactions. But here comes another question, that how this piece of paper became world's backup currency and leading the world now. Till 1914, before the First World War, most of the world's currencies were linked to gold. This means that whenever notes printed by central bank were backed by physical gold of the same value in the treasury. Gold was used as a backup for all currencies, but then in the First World War, all countries exhausted their gold reserves, which means that if you do not have gold as backup, your currency will not have any value. But the Americans were intelligent and they came up with an interesting idea. At that time, America was in possession of 75% of world's gold reserve. They offered other countries to link their currency with US dollar, and as dollar is backed by gold, it will add value to their currency. In 1944, Bretton Woods Agreement was signed, in which it was agreed that US dollar is a stable currency. As a result, US dollar became the backup currency, with central banks keeping 59% of their reserves in US dollar. They created an atomic hierarchy in the world, where gold is on the top, followed by US dollar and other currencies. This all led to dollar becoming the strongest than every other currency, and countries like Zimbabwe, Ecuador, and El Salvador also uses US dollar because they have trust on dollar more than their own currency. But how this backup currency has emerged as a weapon?
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
In 1971, President Nixon abolished the gold standard, which gave Fed full freedom to control US dollar. All this removed gold from economic hierarchy, and dollar captured the status of ruling as a backup currency. Now, for example, if Pakistan wants to buy something from Germany, the Pakistani buyer will first convert rupee to US dollar, which is then transferred to Germany, where the seller receives the dollars and convert them in euros. Fed, also known as Federal Reserve, has the authority to decide that how to keep dollar in control, and as it is used as a currency in international trade, they use it as a weapon and even implement sanctions by restricting countries to trade in US dollar. This is what US did with Russia after they invaded Ukraine. Currently, Russia cannot trade with any country in US dollar due to economic and trade sanctions. Due to this controlling factor, most of the federal policies by United States directly or indirectly affect the policies of other countries. Office of Foreign Asset Control has been established by United States to control how each and every US dollar is used outside the country. US also uses SWIFT to put pressure on Russia and other countries. You must have also noticed that whenever we look at the foreign exchange, we always hear that the dollar is strengthening, and that's true. In COVID-19 pandemic, US government and Federal Reserve gave a huge economic stimulus to its people, as under CARES Act, every adult got $1,200 and every child got $500 as a one-time payment. The step was strongly criticized by most experts, and they predicted that it could all lead to major inflation. And as predicted, the inflation rate started to rise from year 2021, with reaching the highest inflation rate in the last 40 years. To control the inflation, Fed decided to increase interest rates so that supply can be controlled. Now let's understand the scenario. As interest rate is increased, most of the local and foreign investors have started to park their money in US dollar and treasury bonds. This all lead to growing demand of US dollar, making it stronger every day. So can any currency replace dollar in future? It's a quite complicated question. To replace US dollar, we need to replace it with a stronger economy. And we have to find a currency which is trusted by most countries and can be used for trade. Euro could have been an alternative of US dollar, but Brexit has led to weaker euro, and even UK will never accept euro as a backed currency. Chinese yen, on the other hand, has tried so hard to dominate US dollar. But as China is a dictatorship and its policies are aggressive and merely focused on achieving its own goal, it's not easy for Chinese yuan to dominate dollar. In year 2001, an economist, Jim O'Neill, predicted that Brazil, Russia, India and China would become dominant global player by year 2050. He named it as BRIC. Later in year 2010, South Africa also joined the group, turning it into BRICS. In recent months, BRICS nations have been planning to introduce an alternative to US dollar. But is it that simple? To know more about BRICS and plan of China to dominate international trade, check out our next video now. Like our video and support our channel by subscribing and sharing it with your friends. Thank you.